Chosen one. You didn't land here by coincidence. You were led. This moment, this message, it found you right on time because heaven orchestrated it. You've always felt it, haven't you? That quiet disconnection from the world around you. The way noise seems to pierce your spirit. How certain rooms, certain people, certain crowds leave you feeling drained, unseen, or just off. And maybe you've questioned it. Maybe you've wondered, why does being around too many people feel so heavy? Why do I feel like I'm carrying something no one else understands? Let me answer you now with full clarity. You feel that way because you're not like the rest. You were never meant to be. You are marked. You are set apart. You are one of the chosen, and that means your path, your energy, your entire being is spiritually wired for a higher mission. But with that calling comes a divine limitation. You cannot be everywhere. You cannot be with everyone. This isn't rejection, it's protection. In a world asleep, you've been awakened. And with that awakening comes sacred responsibility. So, if you've been feeling the sting of isolation, if your heart has grown tired of trying to belong, this message is your confirmation. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out. You weren't called to the crowd. You were called to the mountaintop. And today, I want to walk with you through the why, the what, and the divine wisdom behind your separation. Because once you understand it, you'll stop resisting it, and you'll start seeing it for what it truly is, spiritual armor. This is your moment of clarity. This is your invitation to remember who you are, to stop shrinking and start rising. Let's begin. 1. Why you were separated. Chosen one. Let's start with what no one told you when you were growing up. You weren't just different. You were divinely designed to be set apart. From childhood, the signs were already there. While other kids blended effortlessly into social circles, you stood on the edge. While others laughed loud in chaos, you sat quiet, watching, feeling, sensing the unseen. You may have tried to blend in, to silence that inner world inside you, but it never worked, did it? No matter how much you smiled, how well you masked it, you always knew. There was a quiet thread pulling you somewhere else. You were marked, even then. The loneliness you felt as a child, it wasn't punishment, it was positioning. A spiritual shaping that began before you even had words to describe it. You see, chosen ones are not born into comfort. They are born into conflict because they are here to break cycles. And to break cycles, you cannot be entangled in them. That's why you were different. That's why your soul never felt safe around just anyone. It's because your energy was never meant to be common. God knew the weight of your calling. And so, from early on, He placed limitations on who could access you. You didn't understand it back then. You may have even felt rejected, excluded, overlooked. But now you're starting to see the pattern. Every room you tried to enter that didn't feel right. Every friend group that slowly pushed you out. Every space that drained you faster than it fed you. It wasn't because something was wrong with you. It was because your spirit was too rare to be diluted. Chosen one, you are not wired for the noise of the masses. You are wired for the clarity of divine instruction. And that clarity is found in sacred stillness. That's why the crowd always felt too loud. Why their conversations felt shallow. Why your soul would ache even in the middle of laughter. Because your purpose wasn't in the party. It was in the quiet place, the secret place. The hidden cave where prophets are formed and warriors are refined. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt uneasy, before a word was even spoken? Like the atmosphere was off, heavy, strange. That's not paranoia. That's spiritual sensitivity. That's the gift of discernment activating in real time. But when you didn't know what it was, you may have internalized it. You may have thought you were awkward, antisocial, or broken. You're not broken. You're protected. You're not fragile. You're finely tuned. You don't belong to the crowd because you were never created to move with the crowd. You were built to walk the narrow path, the quiet road, the prophetic way that doesn't require applause to know its worth. And because of this, the divine has guarded your life. He has allowed certain connections to fall apart. He has blocked you from relationships that looked good but carried hidden snares. He has delayed certain doors because walking through them would have derailed your destiny. And in the moment, you may have begged him to open those doors. But now you know. Now you see it wasn't delay, it was divine protection. Every no was really a yes to your mission. Every detour was alignment in disguise. Every season of isolation was a season of preparation. That's why the world never fully embraced you. Because heaven has been keeping you hidden, not because you're unworthy, but because you are too worthy to be exposed before the time is right. Chosen one, you are not behind. You are being refined. And the more you embrace this truth, the more you will stop grieving the connections that couldn't stay. You will stop chasing what you were never meant to catch. Instead, you will rest. Rest in the knowing that your isolation is sacred, that your difference is divine, that your uniqueness is the blueprint, not the deviation. Because when God sets someone apart, He doesn't apologize for it. He protects them, preserves them, prepares them, and then, when the time is right, He reveals them, but never prematurely. So if you've been feeling hidden, if it seems like everyone else is rising and you're still in the shadows, take a deep breath. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned. Let this part of your story be what builds your roots. Let the silence teach you how to hear Him clearly. Let the emptiness be the space where divine strength grows. You're not alone. You're just becoming. And when the time comes, you won't have to force your way forward, because the same God who hid you will reveal you powerfully, publicly, purposefully. 2. The gift of sensitivity. Chosen one. Now that you understand why you were separated, let's talk about what's inside of you. This sacred thing the world didn't teach you how to carry, your sensitivity. It's not just a personality trait, it's a spiritual instrument. You were born with a different kind of wiring, one that senses beneath the surface. While others listen to words, you feel intentions. While others see actions, you see energy. Where others miss the signs, you notice everything. This gift didn't just develop over time. It was embedded into your soul by the divine Himself. And He gave it to you for one reason: to navigate this world without losing yourself in it. But let's be honest. For much of your life, this sensitivity felt like a curse. You felt everything, too much, too often. People's pain, their tension, their hidden motives. It all landed on your spirit like weight you didn't ask for. You walk into a room, and without a word being spoken, you know who's angry, who's lying, who's spiritually asleep, and who's secretly hurting but hiding it behind a smile. You pick it up like static in the atmosphere, not because you're trying to, but because your soul is attuned to the spiritual realm. This is why you get drained so easily, why being around too many people, even people you love, can feel like too much. Your spirit wasn't designed to absorb everyone. It was designed to discern, to navigate, and to preserve what is sacred within you. But here's the thing. No one told you how to protect that gift. No one showed you how to set spiritual boundaries. So for years, you carried things that weren't yours. You let people too close, thinking it was love. You ignored the unease in your gut, calling it overthinking. But it wasn't overthinking, it was discernment trying to speak. You thought, maybe I'm just too sensitive. But no. You are spiritually intelligent. You are spiritually awake. And in a world full of noise, illusion, and masked intentions, that sensitivity is vital. Let me say this clearly. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. It is a divine compass, and it comes with a specific responsibility. You must protect your field. You must guard your energy like treasure, because it is. Chosen one, you are like a finely tuned instrument, meant to detect the slightest shifts in vibration. But even the finest instruments fall out of tune when left in chaotic environments. That's why after spending time in crowds, you feel exhausted. It's not social anxiety, it's spiritual awareness screaming for space. And when you don't honor that space, when you force yourself into places you were never meant to remain, you compromise the very gift that makes you you. Sensitivity doesn't just feel energy, it absorbs it. That's why you've struggled with heaviness you couldn't explain. You've cried tears you didn't know belonged to you. You've battled emotions that weren't born in your own life, but entered through unguarded spiritual gates. Every hug, every conversation, every glance. If it wasn't aligned, it left residue. And this is why the divine began to separate you. Not to make you bitter, not to make you cold, but to purify your spiritual environment. To help you hear again, feel again, discern again without distortion. Because when your spirit is full of other people's residue, you can't hear divine instructions clearly. So what does God do? He starts pulling you back. You start craving solitude. Loud spaces begin to bother you. Small talk drains you. Even digital noise, texts, calls, social media starts to feel like too much. This isn't depression. This is detox. Your spirit is healing from what it absorbed while trying to be available to everyone. The truth is, you were never meant to be that accessible. You're not just emotionally deep. You are spiritually deep, and spiritual depth cannot survive in shallow waters. So, what do you do now? You embrace what the world misunderstood. You stop apologizing for needing space. You stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace. You stop questioning your reactions to what your spirit already knows. You lean into quiet spaces. You spend more time in nature, in prayer, in worship, in stillness. Because that's where your clarity is sharpened. That's where God meets you without the interference of unaligned frequencies. And most of all, you give yourself permission to be who you were always created to be. Not loud, not public, not overly available, but clear, sharp, spiritually accurate. Chosen one, the world needs what you carry, but it will only receive it when you protect it. You cannot heal others while constantly draining yourself. You cannot guide others while losing your way. You cannot carry divine revelation while ignoring divine boundaries. Your sensitivity is not a burden. It is the signature of your calling. It is your divine radar in a spiritually asleep world. So guard it, nurture it. Let God continue to fine-tune it, because there will come a time, very soon, when He will send you into the chaos as a calm, into the noise as a voice of truth, into brokenness as a vessel of light. But not until you have learned how to protect your gift. This is your training ground, your season of spiritual strengthening. Your sacred moment to rediscover that quiet is your weapon, and clarity is your shield. Let the world call it being too sensitive. Let them misunderstand it. Let them mock it. But you will walk in it. And when the appointed time comes, the same sensitivity that once overwhelmed you will be the very thing that sets you apart, that guides your mission, and that brings healing to others who are just now waking up. 3. The energetic battle. Why your light triggers others chosen in. Now that you understand the sacred nature of your sensitivity, let's step into the next layer of revelation. Why your presence triggers people, even when you've done nothing wrong. Let's call it what it is: energetic misalignment. You carry a frequency that's been refined through pain, trial, awakening, and surrender. Others may smile in your face, but their spirit feels the difference. And when someone is not in alignment with that frequency, your very presence becomes a mirror, not just a reflection of who you are, but of who they are not yet. And that, chosen one, is where the battle begins. You walk into a room, and without saying a word, some people become tense. They start shifting in their energy. Their words get sharp. Their mood changes. Why? Because your light is confronting their darkness, not with condemnation, but with truth. And truth, real, raw, spiritual truth, makes people uncomfortable when they're still trying to hide. You weren't trying to expose them. You weren't judging. You were just being. But that's the thing. Your just being carries weight. Your silence shakes rooms. Your stillness reveals spiritual clutter. Your peace disrupts their chaos. It's not about what you say. It's about what your energy does. Because you are aligned with something deeper, something holy, something ancient. And that alignment carries authority. And authority, especially spiritual authority, cannot be faked. So when someone who is spiritually asleep, confused, or bound by ego comes into contact with a chosen one, they feel that difference instantly, and it either humbles them or it offends them. But don't take it personally. This isn't about you as a person. It's about what your presence represents. You're not just another human being. You're a carrier of truth. You walk with clarity. You reflect authenticity, and that threatens illusions. It shakes what's fake. It disturbs what's hidden. That's why people confide in you too quickly, then ghost you. Why they ask for your insight, then get defensive when you speak. Why they seek your peace, then push you away once they feel convicted by it. This is the cost of divine energy. It's not flashy. It's not always popular, but it is undeniable. And the more awakened you become, the more people will either be drawn to you or disturbed by you. You've likely already seen this play out. You walk into a gathering and the energy shifts. You speak up, and the room goes quiet. You express a boundary, and suddenly you're too intense, too deep, or too much. But listen, you are not too much. They're simply not used to someone being this aligned, because alignment is rare, authenticity is rare, and spiritual clarity. It's unsettling to those still hiding from themselves. Your presence reveals the gap between where people are and where their soul is calling them to be. And not everyone is ready to face that gap. So instead of dealing with their own discomfort, they project it onto you. They label you cold, distant, standoffish. They accuse you of being judgmental, or they try to shrink your light by questioning your motives, your confidence, your peace. But that's because they don't know what to do with your energy. They're not fighting you. They're fighting the conviction your presence ignites in them. This is spiritual warfare on an energetic level, and chosen ones face it constantly, quietly, not in dramatic battles, but in invisible friction. That heavy feeling in your chest when you're around certain people, that strange emotional weight that doesn't belong to you, that sudden exhaustion after being in someone's presence. It's not random. It's a sign that your energy is clashing with an environment or a person not spiritually aligned. You're not being paranoid. You're being protected. Chosen one, you have to understand this. Your frequency was tuned by heaven. Your spirit operates at a resonance that cuts through illusions. And not everyone is ready for that kind of clarity. Some will mistake your discernment for judgment. Some will envy your calm. Some will resent the fact that you feel safe within yourself, because they don't. But you're not here to make everyone comfortable. You're here to be a light, a truth bearer, a disruptor of the spiritual slumber that's kept this world bound for too long. You don't have to apologize for how people respond to your presence. You don't have to lower your frequency just to make others feel better. You don't have to dim your discernment so others won't feel exposed. You're not here to blend in. You're here to pierce through. So if your presence creates tension, if your words stir emotions, if your silence feels heavy to others, let it. Because the truth is, they needed that friction. It's often the only thing that wakes them up. But remember this too. Not everyone you trigger is meant to walk with you. Some were only meant to be touched by your presence, not carried by your loyalty. So don't chase those who are repelled by your light. Don't grieve every disconnection. Don't explain your energy to those who refuse to understand it. Your tribe, your spiritual circle, your divine connections, they will recognize you without confusion. They will feel your presence and call it what it is: sacred, rare, sent. Until then, honor the friction. It's proof that you're walking in alignment. It's evidence that your light is active. And it's confirmation that the assignment on your life is real. 4. The pattern of isolation. Your wilderness is wholly chosen one. Now that we've uncovered the weight of your energy, let's talk about what's really been happening during the quiet seasons. The loneliness, the long nights of questioning, the years where no one saw you, the seasons where doors closed, people left, and nothing seemed to move. You thought it was rejection, but it wasn't. It was the wilderness. a sacred, divine wilderness, ordained by heaven, tailored for your becoming. You see, every chosen one must pass through a season of isolation. It's not optional. It's spiritual law. Before God reveals you, He must refine you. Before He entrusts you with influence, He ensures your integrity. Before He sends you into the world, He pulls you out from it. Let me remind you of the pattern. Moses didn't step into leadership without first wandering through the desert. Elijah didn't call down fire until he had first hidden in a cave. Even Jesus, the Son of God, retreated into the wilderness for 40 days before stepping into His public calling. Why? Because the wilderness isn't about punishment. It's about preparation. It's where heaven shapes warriors, not performers. It's where the voice of God becomes louder than the voices of the crowd. And that's exactly what's been happening to you. Every relationship that ended, every door that slammed, every season that felt barren wasn't the enemy. It was the divine gardener pruning you. He was removing what couldn't go with you. He was detaching you from what would only drain your mission. He was pulling you out of places that would contaminate your clarity. You didn't lose. You were being refined. Chosen one, you must understand this. Isolation is not abandonment, it's consecration. When heaven marks you for a divine assignment, it doesn't leave you exposed. It shields you, it hides you in plain sight. It separates you from what is common, so that you can carry what is holy. But here's the part that most people miss. The wilderness is supposed to feel uncomfortable. That discomfort, that ache, that feeling of emptiness, it's not because God left you. It's because He's emptying you of everything that doesn't align with your next chapter. It's the sacred breaking that comes before the building. The tearing away that makes space for divine clarity. The stripping of ego, fear, distraction, and dependency, until all that remains is pure purpose. And yes, it hurts. It's quiet. It's lonely. You pray and feel like no one hears you. You work and see no fruit. You show up and still feel unseen. But I promise you, heaven has not forgotten you. God has not overlooked you. You are in the hidden chamber of heaven's workshop, and what's being crafted in secret will be revealed in power. You're not behind, you're in process, and the process is holy. The world values visibility, but heaven values refinement. God doesn't rush revelation. He waits until your soul can carry the weight of your calling, because your mission isn't just about being seen, it's about being trusted. And trust is built in the wilderness. This is where you learn to hear His voice without needing a crowd to confirm it. This is where you break free from the addiction to validation. This is where your discernment sharpens, your strength grows, and your purpose crystallizes. So the next time you feel alone, remember, this is the sacred path of the chosen. You are not the only one. The prophets walked it. The messengers walked it. The anointed, the misunderstood, the world changers, they all walked through it first. It is the pattern. You've been hidden because the light inside of you needed time to ignite. The world celebrates those who rush ahead, but you are being built to last, to lead, to carry the kind of fire that doesn't burn out under pressure. This takes time, and that time is sacred. So if you're in a season where it feels like no one sees you, where no one understands what you're carrying, take heart. Heaven sees you. The angels walk with you. The Most High whispers to you in the stillness and the silence you've been sitting in. It's not empty. It's pregnant with purpose. It's where clarity is born. It's where divine strategy is revealed. It's where you stop reacting and start receiving. Chosen one, don't resist your wilderness. Don't rush out of it. Don't curse the silence. Lean into it. Because in this space, God is forming the kind of vessel that can hold revelation without leaking. He's building your character to match your calling. He's fortifying your soul so that when the platform comes, you won't fall under the pressure of exposure. You will rise, whole, prepared, and unshakable. Let the wilderness do its work, because what comes after will make sense of everything you've had to endure. 5. Why your energy is protected. Chosen one. Now that you understand the sacred purpose of your wilderness, It's time to understand why God has gone to such great lengths to protect your energy. Because this is one of the most misunderstood parts of your journey. You weren't just pulled away from people, you were shielded from them. And not because they were bad, but because they were misaligned. You carry something divine, something rare, something not everyone can handle, even if they mean well. Your spirit operates at a higher frequency. Your soul vibrates at a rhythm most people haven't even tuned into. And when you're that connected to heaven, the wrong connections on earth can become dangerous. Let me say that clearly. One wrong relationship can delay a chosen one's purpose by years. One wrong voice in your ear can cloud your discernment. One wrong atmosphere can drain your spiritual fire to embers. That's why your access has been limited. That's why certain doors didn't open. Why certain people walked away. Why you couldn't force your way into some circles, no matter how hard you tried. Because the divine said, no, that one can't go with you. It wasn't rejection. It was spiritual protection. You were being guarded from attachments that would have slowed your mission, drained your power, and entangled your energy in soul ties that had no eternal value. Chosen one, hear me. Your energy is not common. It is sacred. And the Most High has been teaching you to treat it like that. That means you can't pour into everyone. You can't answer every call. You can't sit at every table or entertain every invitation. And that's not arrogance. That's alignment. You are not here to be accessible to the masses. You are here to be available to the mission. And there's a difference. If the enemy can't destroy you, he will distract you. He will drain you through people, through conversations, through chaos. Not through demons in the night, but through constant, subtle noise that dulls your discernment and fogs your clarity. This is why you've been removed from certain environments. This is why God silenced certain friendships that once felt close. Why your spirit started feeling sick in places that used to feel comfortable. It's because your spirit outgrew what your comfort tried to maintain. You are no longer available for spiritual counterfeits. No longer accessible to environments that strip away your strength. No longer willing to shrink your light just to stay connected to people who never understood your fire. And listen, that's not bitterness. That's spiritual maturity. You are learning how to preserve the oil. You are learning that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. You are learning to guard your gates, your ears, your eyes, your time, your energy. Because now you understand, your assignment requires precision. Your calling demands clarity. And your mission cannot afford to be compromised by casual connections. You're not being too sensitive. You're finally being spiritually aware, and that awareness will save your life. Because, chosen one, your energy isn't just powerful, it's attractive. People are drawn to you. Your peace, your presence, your insight. They want it. But not all of them come with clean hands. Not all of them come with pure hearts. Some come to extract, to attach, to siphon what they didn't earn and cannot carry. And if you're not careful, you'll confuse divine compassion with spiritual obligation. You'll keep giving to people God already removed from your life. You'll keep pouring where He's already told you to stop. This is why the divine has been teaching you boundaries. Because love without wisdom leads to spiritual exhaustion. Compassion without clarity leads to compromise. And light without protection gets dimmed. So God stepped in. He shut down the invitations. He closed the doors. He stirred up the discomfort in spaces you were never meant to stay. And when you didn't walk away, He made sure they walked away from you. That pain, that heartbreak, that confusion over why they left. It wasn't just life happening. It was heaven intervening. The Most High stepped in and removed access. Because if they had stayed longer, your soul would have paid a price too heavy for your purpose to carry. Chosen one. You've cried over connections that God had to cut. But when you look back, you'll see that every subtraction was divine addition in disguise. He was clearing your path, purifying your energy field, positioning you for purpose. And now, He's asking you to protect what He's refined. Be intentional, be discerning, be unapologetic about your boundaries. Because the truth is, you don't just walk into a room, you shift the room. You don't just speak. You activate something in people. You don't just show up. You carry the weight of heaven behind your presence. And when you finally understand how sacred your energy is, you'll stop letting it be wasted on those who only come to take. never to honor, never to pour back. Protect your oil, chosen one. Guard your peace. Value your presence, not out of pride, but out of purpose. Because in the next season, God's going to call you out of hiding. He's going to send you into spaces that need your light. But He's making sure now that when you get there, you'll know how to protect the treasure you carry. 6. Clarity through separation. Why you're being prepared in silence. Chosen one. Let's go even deeper now. You've come to understand that your energy is sacred, that your isolation was protection, that your wilderness wasn't punishment. It was a divine classroom. But now we step into something even more powerful. Clarity. And why, in this season, God has intentionally separated you from the noise, from the crowds, from the busyness of everything, because clarity is a requirement for your assignment. Hear me. Confusion is the enemy of calling. You can't walk in divine purpose with a fogged spirit. You can't carry out heaven's instruction while being pulled in 100 earthly directions. And so, the Most High began removing distractions, not out of cruelty, but because your vision is too important to be compromised. Clarity comes through separation. Just as the body needs rest to heal, your spirit needs stillness to receive. The world is loud, always buzzing, always talking, always pulling. But your path is different. Your mission is different. You weren't created to be constantly surrounded. You were created to hear Him clearly. And clarity does not come in chaos. It comes in quiet. That's why He's been slowing things down. That's why the invitation stopped. That's why the phone got quieter. That's why even good opportunities started to feel heavy. Because God didn't just want your attention, He wanted your alignment. And to align you, He had to extract you from environments, from relationships, even from mindsets that kept fogging your purpose. You can't be sharp when your soul is tangled in noise. You can't see the path when your eyes are flooded with distractions. So the divine called you back to the stillness, back to the sacred, back to the secret place where the world fades. And the voice of the Most High becomes unmistakable. Clarity is not found in crowds. It is found in consecration. And chosen ones must be clear, not just motivated, not just passionate, but precise, focused, spiritually sharp. Because what God is about to call you into requires you to discern beyond appearances, to hear beyond noise, to see beyond what others see. So, He separated you, because separation leads to revelation. When you're no longer being pulled in every direction, you start to feel the still, small voice again. The whispers of the Spirit, the divine blueprints, the subtle nudges, and that voice, that divine instruction. That's where your next level is. Not in performance, not in popularity, but in precision. Chosen one, your gift is too valuable to be blurred. Your voice is too important to be lost in the crowd. Your mission is too sacred to be diluted by constant motion. So God said, "Come away." He called you out. And yes, it felt lonely. Yes, it felt confusing. But that loneliness became clarity. That confusion became revelation. He wasn't trying to isolate you for punishment. He was trying to reposition you for clarity. Let's pause here for a moment. Have you noticed how different your thoughts have become since you've been spending more time alone? How you've started seeing things for what they really are. How the people, the patterns, the habits, they started to show their true spiritual weight? That's discernment sharpening. You weren't wrong before. You were just surrounded by noise. But now, you're waking up. Your mind is clearer. Your spirit is lighter. Your ears are tuned again to the whispers of heaven. Because clarity is a form of spiritual power. It's how you know what's yours and what's not. It's how you sense when something is off, even if everyone around you is saying it's fine. It's how you recognize divine timing, not rushing, not forcing, but flowing in alignment. And here's the thing. When you have clarity, you're not easily manipulated. You're not easily distracted. You're not easily swayed by people, opinions, or pressure, because you know who you are. You know what God said, and that knowing becomes your anchor. Chosen one, you've been given a divine mind, a prophetic eye, a sacred assignment. And clarity is what guards it all. So if the season you're in has felt like everything was being stripped away, understand this. You were not being emptied for the sake of loss. You were being emptied so God could fill you with what's real, with truth, with wisdom, with fresh instruction. And that clarity, it will guide your next step. It will reveal the doors you're meant to walk through, and the ones that are traps in disguise. Clarity will protect you more than any army. It will lead you more powerfully than any plan. That's why the divine is so serious about removing anything that could compromise it. Because what's coming next in your life requires a version of you that sees clearly, hears deeply, and moves boldly. No more confusion, no more noise, no more distractions disguised as opportunities. You are stepping into a season of divine precision, where every move you make is led by clarity, where every yes is intentional, and every no is powerful. And it all started when God pulled you away, not to harm you, but to reveal you to yourself. So, don't fight the separation. Welcome it. Don't run from the stillness. Sit in it, because it's here, in the quiet, that heaven is giving you the map, the strategy, the clarity you've been praying for. You're not just being protected, you're being prepared. And when it's time to step out again, you won't just walk, you'll move with divine precision. 7. Divine timing. You're not late, you're right on schedule. Chosen one. Now that you understand the power of clarity, let's settle something that's been quietly tormenting your mind. You are not behind. Let that sink in. You're not too late, you're not missing out. You didn't miss your moment. The enemy wants you to believe that you're stuck, delayed, overlooked. But in truth, you are right on schedule. Divine schedule. God doesn't operate by earthly calendars. He operates by Kairos time, heavenly timing, not measured by clocks or years, but by readiness. And readiness, chosen one, isn't about having it all together. It's about alignment, spiritual maturity, surrender, obedience, clarity, all the things he's been forming in you while the world ran ahead. Let's be real. You've watched people rise. You've seen others succeed. You've questioned, why not me? Why am I still in hiding? And God's answer? Because you're not called to move like everyone else. You're called to move with me. And when the divine is in charge of your timing, nothing can rush it and nothing can stop it. Yes, it may look like delay, but it's actually preparation. Because what he's building in you, it's not fast food, it's legacy. It's not a moment of fame, it's a lifetime of impact. And for that kind of mission, he takes his time. God is more interested in building your foundation than rushing your elevation. Because a rushed rise leads to a public fall. But a deeply rooted vessel can stand in any storm. So while others are sprinting, you've been planted. While others are performing, you've been becoming. While others were chasing platforms, you've been learning how to carry the weight of purpose. And now, that seed the world forgot about, it's about to break through the soil. But here's the beautiful part. When your time comes, you won't have to strive for it. Because divine timing doesn't need your hustle, it needs your alignment. That's why God closed doors. That's why he delayed certain relationships. That's why he rerouted you, humbled you, silenced you. He was preserving your unveiling. He was making sure when you stepped into your season, nothing would be able to shake you. And when that door opens, chosen one, it will be a door no man can shut. Because it wasn't man who opened it, it was the Most High. This is why your path has looked different, why it took longer, why you had to walk alone, why you had to unlearn, relearn, and walk in circles until your vision got clear. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Because the destiny on your life carries weight. It's not casual, it's not trendy, it's prophetic. And that kind of calling doesn't get rolled out overnight. Think about it. Noah had to build for decades before the rain ever came. Joseph had to endure betrayal, prison, and being forgotten before his promotion arrived. David was anointed as king and still had to wait, hidden in caves. Why? because premature exposure would have destroyed the mission, because character had to be forged in fire, because discernment had to be tested through rejection, because timing had to be perfected. And now, your story is no different. The pain, it served a purpose. The silence, it sharpened your hearing. The delay, it trained your discernment. Because when you rise, you won't just rise for yourself. You'll rise with a word, with a message, with authority. People will ask, where did you come from? And the truth will be, you didn't just arrive. You were sent, prepared in the dark, sharpened in silence, strengthened in the secret place. Your revealing is coming, not rushed, not forced, but right on time. And when it happens, you won't need to knock on doors. You'll be the door. People will come looking for what you carry, because you carry what can't be manufactured. You carry what's been forged by God. And when that moment comes, you won't feel nervous. You'll feel ready, because you are. You were just hidden, not forgotten. Delayed, but never denied. Held back, so you could be launched. And this is the season where everything will begin to make sense. So don't compare timelines. Don't rush the process. Don't let the enemy trick you into believing you're behind. You're right on time. And the divine is never early, never late, only perfectly aligned. Chosen one, your story is about to shift. Not because you forced it, but because heaven scheduled it. And when it happens, you'll look back and realize every delay was divine. Every silence was sacred. Every separation was strategy. You're not just walking into destiny. You're walking into a chapter that's already been written, and it ends with glory. Chosen one, take a deep breath. Let everything you've just heard settle into your spirit. You were never lost. You were being led. Every tear, every closed door, every moment of solitude. It was all divine design. And now you see it clearly. You weren't being punished. You were being positioned. Your sensitivity is not weakness. It's your compass. Your separation was not rejection. It was sacred protection. Your delays weren't denials. They were preparation. God has been working behind the scenes of your life, silently shaping the vessel that would carry His light into the darkest places. That vessel is you. So now you rise, not with arrogance, but with authority, not with fear, but with clarity. You rise knowing that what's in you is rare, refined, and ready. You rise understanding that you were hidden on purpose to be revealed at the right time, and that time is coming. But before you go, I want you to hear this. You don't need to rush. You don't need to force. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to stay aligned. Stay in the secret place. Stay in the presence of the Most High. Because in that place, your steps will always be ordered. When the world doesn't understand you, stay aligned. When people walk away, stay aligned. When the door doesn't open yet, stay aligned. Because God hasn't forgotten you. He's preparing to reveal you, and when that moment comes, it will be undeniable. You will step into rooms you didn't ask for, speak words you didn't plan, carry power you didn't expect, all because you were faithful in the silence, all because you trusted Him through the separation. So if this message resonated deep in your soul, if you felt confirmation with every word, then I invite you now, comment Wonder 11 down below. Let the world know the chosen ones are rising. You are one of them, and your time is near. Make sure you subscribe, because this is only the beginning. There is more revelation to come, more clarity, more purpose, more truth that will strengthen your walk. You were called, you were chosen, you were set apart, and your energy, your assignment, your anointing is protected by heaven itself. Walk boldly now. Your steps are ordered. Your mission is divine, and your light can no longer be hidden. You're not just rising, you're becoming who you were always meant to be.